Hello, welcome. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to count. This is counting cells or information. There is another formula called sum if you want to sum up things, and I won't go into that today, but I might mention it. The other functions I might mention, well, the 2 functions I'm going to go over is CountA or CountAll and CountIf. But there's some other functions I might reference as unique, I think that's it. I might talk about sum a little bit. But the first way to count things is this explore, which is down here to the bottom right. Here we can explore. So I've created a little situation here. I've already done some work up here. We have, say, a bunch of people that we're reaching out to. Maybe we're doing sales or something, and we have our statuses in this column. Maybe these are data validated or something. There's some drop-down menus. Who knows? Maybe we just need to know this information once a month. So we grab this information, copy paste it here, and want to parse through it or crunch through this data. And we want to know how many people is there. Well, one thing is we can just go over the entire. We can just highlight everything, highlight these, and if our rows are not lined up for whatever reason, we can look over here and it says count. It says count 50 over here on the bottom right. So this Explorer helps us really quickly understand our data. If we don't know how many things are in this column, it says sum here, but there's a down arrow here, and there's actually, you can click here and find the count. There's some other things here. You can find the average, the min max, count numbers, but for now we're just doing count. What's interesting, if you have not noticed yet, is these actually say something different. I'll show you why in a second when we get to that. Same with here where we have some users. Maybe each of these people are HR people and we're trying to sell them some service. Again, count is here, but sum is here as well. So we have some interesting numbers. We have an average, we have a minimum, maximum. We can quickly parse this data. If we just really want to know it, we don't need to show it. So that's one way to count. The other way is to use CountAll. So what I did here is count all here across the top, but they're counting all from B3. And this, when we're doing CountAll, we have to be aware of literally what we're counting. So if we go equals, let's actually delete that because this is getting annoying. So we're going to write CountAll here. So CountAll, and we're going to do B3 to B, and we get 51. Well, why is that? Because we went from the header, and it doesn't know that it's a header. In Google Sheets, it thinks everything is data, right? So we need to be aware of what are we counting. We actually need to go B4, and we want to do that here. So now we have 50, okay? And then if we copy and paste this across, we have 10, 50, 50. I like to do this sometimes, put in the header counts. And there are some issues, though, with doing that. As you can see, already we use one row as data. We might want to show this as a dashboard somewhere. Maybe we want to copy and paste it and show it somewhere, or visually represent it in some other way. For a variety of reasons, it doesn't work in the header, but sometimes it does if we quickly want to know how many things are in this column. What I will point out, though, is that this column, count of C, CountAll does not count blanks. But it also doesn't count formulas if there's nothing in the formula. I've hidden here some, not everywhere, but somewhere, formulas that say if this B status is closed, then just give us whatever's in the D4 column. So if I change this to closed, now suddenly that count changes because there's actually data here. It only works because this formula, when it's false, it literally does nothing. There's nothing here. If we had said, okay, give us a space, now suddenly it's counting, but we don't see anything. So we're like, well, where are those numbers? We can't see anything. It's because there's an actual space here. And to Google Sheets, that's data. That is something. So we have to be vigilant about this whenever we see something like this. Double check your numbers and double check that your formulas are actually doing nothing. We want them to do nothing. Maybe we want to go across the entire thing, and we now come back to 11 because these are all nothing. And we maybe Oh wait, that was a mistake. Okay, that was supposed to be sent. We didn't get that number. Okay, great, we're at 10. Always double check your numbers that they apply to reality. Now the third thing, CountIf, allows us to count different things. So say we wanted to count the number of, like we wanted to know what's our pipeline like. And we have all of these different issues. We have these statuses, right? Sent, closed, in progress. One of the best ways to do this is on another sheet, and just to quickly grab the possibilities, I'm going to go here and change this to be 4, to be, grab the unique. So we know only sent, closed, and in progress are here. Just as a habit, I'm going to copy and paste values so that we don't change that just in case. And we're going to use CountIf. CountIf, well, what's the range? The range is the B column. In CountIf, we can use the entire B column. And what is the criterion is going to be, we're just going to click on that C4 there, and it's 10, and 10, and 30. So we know this is correct, or at least we assume this is correct because this adds up to 50, right? We can put a total here, put equals sum, put here, and we know, okay, that adds up to 50. That makes sense because there's 50 here, and all of those combined would be 50. We don't really have, we can also absolutely go in a little bit and count them and double check, but this is pretty spot on. We don't have to double check, but now we know out of this 50, there's 10 sent, 10 closed, 30 in progress. One just fun thing I like to do is I like to do a percentage right here next to things like this. This divided by sum, or we can just do total. And yep, there's a problem. And we get then change that to percentage, which is 20%, but when we copy paste, there's a problem. We want to lock this one. So this is a little bonus. There, we got 20%, 20%, 60%. So 60% of our leads are in progress, and that is explore, count all, and CountIf. And some problems you might run into with count all is, now let's go through them again. So explore, we just select what we want to select. There, and you notice count numbers is 10, count is 11. So it actually knew this was a header because it was text. If we just copy or highlight that, we have count 10. We can do count all for the entire row and get that, or if we mess up, if we include the header, it might be wrong. We can also use CountIf on another page if you want, or even the same page if you really want to put everything together. And CountIf, you have to have a criterion of what is the range and what are we searching for? What are we counting? Counting is going to be very specific. Sent. Let me double check. I think. Let me see. Sent. Just if it does it. Yeah, it will. It is. It doesn't care about capitalization, so this is all the same. What might happen though, unique does care about it. Actually, this is going to be a little interesting. So we go unique, and we use the same range. We actually do it on sheet 1. Now, when we do unique, and there's 2 of the same status, but they're different capitalizations. Unique counts them as different. But if we do CountIf, sheet 1, B to B, and criterion is this, notice that the count doesn't matter about capitalization, so our total is way off. Let's get rid of that, sum here. Our total is 10 off. And so you can pretty much figure this out by absolutely there is sometimes when you have different uniques and it's like dozens or thousands of uniques, and you're doing a count and like your count's off by a little bit, just double check this capitalization. If you're using unique, you have to be aware of that. And your CountIf doesn't care about capitalization, so it's going to add up these 2 things similarly. This is actually what I like to do to fix this is Command C. I'm just pasting these values. I'll do this. I will go to data, sort range by A to Z, and I'll notice these 2 are identical. You can absolutely find this out if like all of these are supposed to be different counts, or see it alphabetically that, these are supposed to be the same thing, and so we just delete one of them from our count, and we now have it fine. that's some pitfalls you might run into and some issues you might run into with Explorer. Count all and CountIf. Count all will skip empty spaces. Even if you have a formula that turns up empty, but make sure that formula turns up empty or it will be counted even if there's something like a space there and you just don't see it, it will still count it. CountIf, you have some issues because you have to know that it doesn't care about capitalization, but something like unique does. Hopefully that was helpful to you, and now you know 3 ways to count anything in Google Sheets. Bye.